Hello and welcome to the Simuldub Saints, your guide to seasonal anime dubs. I'm your host, Lance Good, and with me as always is my trusty co-host.
Hello, I am Archangel, lover of cat girls.
You've been listening to our theme song, Wherever I Go, from friend of the podcast, Ampren. Please check out their awesome music, link in the description.
And this episode of the Simuldub Saints has been brought to you by Manuela's Fine Fashions. More about them at the end.
Wow, Manuela's giving us some fine fashion.
Yeah, well, I
Nice.
mean, she comes up briefly in the episode, so I guess she heard we were doing this, so she said, hey, I could use some more customers. And she threw a few gold to us, so.
I can always use more gold, especially with our recent downtime. Sorry, everyone. Especially to those of you on the Spotify podcasts. I've been a bad boy getting those audio podcasts up on time, but they're, as of recording, we're 1-to-1 again. It took a while, but I got there. So I will try to get this out at the same time as I do on YouTube. It's been a rough couple of weeks, but hopefully we're at the end of that. We've had a couple of plans fall through, so we didn't have a podcast last week. Again, sorry about that, but we're back. At any rate, we've got some news!
Indeed.
In the category of news, Crunchyroll makes a big deal. They got a video package. They're changing up their logo and their look. And I have to wonder if they're going to change up their website. And I'm like, oh god, they're going to break it.
Yeah, Crunchyroll, if you do what High Dive did, I don't know what I will come to your office, I don't know what I'll do, but you won't enjoy it and you'll have to call the cops. That's all I'm gonna say.
New and improved! New and broken.
Yeah, I work for a software company, and I will say one thing that I have said to our development team: don't change GUI elements without a damn good reason.
It'd be nice if that was a industry standard, but sadly, it seems like the opposite is the industry standard.
Software engineers don't consider the user experience more times than not because they are so wrapped up in making the damn thing work that they don't have any brain power down the road. And also, a lot of times the people building something have no interest in ever using it. It's just the way it is.
Yeah. Well, speaking of High Dive, in looking for news, I was messing around on High Dive's website, checking on dates of things coming out, and they stealth announced something without making a big announcement. Under their simulcast subs for this season, it wasn't there before, but they've got Oshi no Ko Season 2 in there now. Now, they're doing the Crunchyroll thing and saying TBA. Normally, High Dive gives us exact dates. So this clearly means that they last second said, oh, wait, we need to dub this ASAP, because Oshi no Ko is huge. But we don't know when we're getting that out. So I don't know when they're getting that out. It could be any time. Unlike Crunchyroll, when they do TBA, where I can guess, based on the fact that they're typically 2 weeks behind, ain't nobody have any idea when this is coming out. But it's coming sooner rather than later. So, yay, Oshi no Ko dub. And last on the news list, this isn't really a Simuldub, but it's too stupid to not talk about. Credit to SC Universe, Sam, over on Toonami Squad, who posted this information on my personal Discord server. Rooster Fighter is coming to Toonami.
Oh, God.
I didn't know what the heck this was. And that trailer is both the most insanely stupid and yet interesting show concept I've ever seen. And I know from announcements they've given, Viz is going to be dubbing this. I want them to pay Johnny Young Bosch to make chicken noises.
Okay. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the guy's still alive, at least I would hope so. But the spirit of Rob Liefeld appears to be alive and well in this world.
Yes, Rob Liefeld is definitely still around.
Good. He's way too young to be dead.
You know what this actually reminds me of more than anything? There's a Robot Chicken sketch that tries to do a crime drama where it's just a bunch of chickens and all they do is do chicken talk the entire time.
Well, that was Law and Order specifically, and having watched a lot of Law and Order, they got that exactly right.
Okay, well there you go. That's what this reminds me of, but now we're doing that, but doing it to like Shonen Jump.
I guess. I could make a lot of comparisons. Bobobo actually came to mind as I was watching this, but the thing that it reminded me of, and this is going to sound weird, and this is very much, I don't know if Rob Liefeld was involved, but it was very much of that school thing. I saw a free, like, first episode thing on the web one time, and I clicked, and I read it because it was, just the name was stupid. It was called Battle Pope. This is like, from way back in the day, and the premise is, world has been taken over by, monsters or demons, and the last pope is this washed up sinful old wreck, and God's like, all right, the hell with this, I'm giving you fucking superpowers, you are now battle pope, kick the shit out of these demons. Oh, and by the way, take my stupid kid with you because he's been smoking too much pot. Jesus. So I don't think Jesus was literally a stoner, but he acts like one.
Oh my gosh.
It's so it's
quick
just
check that
it's
that is
incredibly
a,
irreverent, incredibly
creation
stupid.
of Tony Moore. So
Okay.
not Liefeld, but I totally see where you're getting at that from.
Yeah, it came off as incredibly stupid, incredibly irreverent, and wonderfully silly. So I read the first issue for free one time because it came up. But that's what this kind of reminded me of, especially with the whole demon thing.
Well, as the promotion likes to say, a cock is coming to Adult Swim.
Yes. But honestly, what I think happened is some mangaka went on vacation somewhere and attended a cockfight and came home with ideas. That is legit. I would put a small but real amount of money on that being true.
I could also
better than playing Far Cry 6 with the cockfighting minigame.
The other possibility is just like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, somebody took a dare on what insane thing they could come up with.
I would not bet against that.
Because that factually is how we got that.
Yeah, this is either going to be one for the ages, or it's going to be a momentary laugh, and then we'll forget about it.
My immediate reaction was, what the? And yet, I'm compelled. I want to see this insanity.
Yeah, I want to see what they're up to.
So
50-50 as to whether it'll be memorable.
But, you know, it's notably insane, so I had to at least put something in there for it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's about it for news. So we're here to talk about an Archdemon's Dilemma: how to love your elf bride.
Yep, which is a surprisingly light and adorable, mostly light, as long as you don't think about some of the things that are mentioned too hard.
Oh, there's some pretty screwed up stuff going in here for both Zagon and Neffy's background. I mean, they're both former slaves.
Right. Well, it's a rom-com with set in a fantasy world, and what was I gonna say? Shades of parenting comedy as well.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. And yet there is an overarching plot that feels like it didn't quite get to where it's going yet.
Oh yeah, there's a lot more they could do, assuming that there's more material to work with. But
it's really interesting how it mixes slice of life comedy with a more actiony adventure story, like combined into one. Almost like Mushoku Tensei, but more comedic.
Yeah, so let's see. In this world, sorcery is I think the only school of magic that was mentioned.
As far as I recall, I don't remember it being. It seems to be it's used synonymously with "hey, magic."
Right, and it's not the nice type of magic. You don't strictly need to do this, but if you, in most situations, or at least conventional wisdom would hold, that if you want to gain any amount of real power as a sorcerer, you need to sacrifice people and use their life force, souls, whatever, to do
not appear
things.
to be the only way to do this. Not at all.
Right, but it's very much the stereotype in this world that sorcerers
That's
will.
what people believe. Yes.
Yeah. It does seem to be at least somewhat grounded in fact.
You can certainly do that, but it is so not at all. Like, Zagon never does that at all, and he's more powerful than most sorcerers. It's not at all true.
Yeah, well, he seems to be a bit of an outlier.
Not really, because we don't really see, outside of the few, we don't really see that happen. I'm
Fair
not sure
enough.
where
Well,
what you're latching on to be honest with you. This feels very out of left field for a conversation about the show to me.
that was the impression I got.
Not the
But
impression
anyway,
I got at
I'm
all.
trying to set the scene for Zagon's background, or for excuse me, I'm not Zagon. I'm saying, oh, it is Zagon. I'm sorry. Yes,
For Neffy, well, Neffy and Zagon, honestly.
yes.
Yes, Neffy was certainly taken in by the demon lord Marcosius, and he used her for all kinds of experiments, and she was set to be used like that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But that was not to get more powerful. That was, I'm experimenting. I want to see what I can do.
Okay, so let's. I was trying to lead into unsuccessfly, obviously. That's just my bad. I was trying to lead into a systematic description of our two protagonists. So let's start with Zagon, who's arguably the protag, although I'd say he and Neffy are pro-protags. This guy is voice acted by Kyron Flitten. Hope I pronounced that right. And so apparently he has also played Drott in Freerun and Lemmings in Dead Mount Deathplay.
And he's
So,
actually a relative newcomer. His earliest credit is 2022, and this is a theme for the stub, outside of one massive, massive exception who I'm going to gush over when we get to him. A lot of these guys are relative newcomers, and this is something I've noticed in a lot of the dubs in the current season, which this is from last season, because current season's still kind of getting going. We don't have much to talk about yet. But a lot of newcomers have been coming into the scene lately, and I'm so happy to see more voices, more takes come in. Not that I have anything wrong with classic voice actors. In fact, I love them, but the more the merrier.
Mm-hmm. Yep, you can't let the talent pool get stagnant. So anyway, Neffy's voice actress is Abigail Blythe, known as Kikoru Shinomiya in Kaiju number 8, and also Princess Margaret in My Unique Skill Makes Me OP at level 1.
I actually had to struggle for her because she's also a relative newcomer, but god damn, she does a great job.
At least the Kaiju number 8, that's not a small role.
No, not at all. But I mean, I had to struggle because her credit list is small.
Okay, well,
no, Kikoru Shinomiya and obviously Neffy and are both amazing roles. I don't remember Princess Margaret, but we did watch that show, and it was a good dub, so I'm sure she did fine there too.
Yep. I've heard the name of this other show, but I don't know anything about it.
What? So we totally watched it.
You loved it. Okay, well, shows how good my memory is.
That's funny. But yeah, no, she does a great job as Neffy. Neffy's comparing to last season. Well, they're both last season. Comparing to Kikoru, who is a much more assertive character. This is a more reserved character. She's got insane range.
Indeed. All right. So anyway, I'm actually going to say that Zagon is the protagonist, at least in the anime, because when we hear internal dialogue, we hear his.
That is a good point. Actually, I'll have to agree with that. That and then which case maybe they are dual protagonists because Neffy's a circle of a lot of stuff that happens.
True, she's a focus of the story, but
no, you're right though.
That's totally not necessarily what makes a protagonist. I don't think.
No,
again, I'm a history major, not an English major. So
you make very good points, and actually that probably makes her the deuteragonist, honestly.
Yeah,
because she is important, but you're right. She's not a point of view character, not at all.
Yep. All right. So Zagon was raised, quote unquote, by a particularly nasty sorcerer. Really, he was just being kept around as manual labor and as a sacrifice.
They give the name of the sorcerer. I looked, I couldn't find anything, and
Yeah.
he's not that important. But the important thing is he wasn't the only one, because
Yeah.
Barbatos was actually the student of that same master.
Right. Well, we couldn't easily find, and neither of us had the bothered to look up the name of the master, because it's all we never actually meet him really, except in
I
flashbacks.
looked all over the place for this, and I got spoilers from the light novels because of it, and I'm mad about it. But nobody had the name.
Okay, maybe he's not named. Anyway,
He
it's not
is.
really
He's
important
named in the
because.
episode, I just couldn't remember which episode.
Okay, well, anyway, my point is that the guy was arrogant and incompetent, and when he went to finally kill Zagon, Zagon killed him as a little kid. So,
Yep.
Sucks to suck.
Zagon basically has his castle now.
Yeah, so he basically took over and has thought, okay, I need to be able to protect myself. So he has spent every minute of every day otaku style, only instead of doing anime and manga and games, he's been studying sorcery. And he's gotten pretty fucking good at it. Like, really fucking good at it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But he has had almost, he had a fucked up and messed up childhood, and then he's basically kept to himself since then, and he has no idea how to talk to people at all. The only person he has any social contact with is Barbatos, who again was the student of his late master, and now just kind of comes by to quote unquote attack, but really they're frenemies.
I mean, he doesn't even come by to attack. He comes by to drink, and they're drinking buddies and they chat.
Right.
He definitely pulls a villain moment briefly in the show. Very briefly.
Well, Barbatos is trying to steal lore from him and stuff, but so when I say attack, I mean like subterfuge type of thing. But really, it's all kind of mixed together as people do.
Yeah, well, Barbatos is voiced by Mark Allen Jr., who is one of the exceptions here to the newcomer crew, because he's Ukyo and Dr. Stone and Koha Ren and Maki. This dude's definitely been around and definitely knows what he's doing, because he does a great job here.
Indeed, and he actually turns in a very noteworthy performance here. Voice-wise, Barbatos is one of the more memorable people in the show.
Absolutely,
he's kind of over the top.
He is incredibly over the top.
But at base, I don't think he's a bad person.
No,
although I don't think he realizes that.
No, although I think he's in the process of he's getting better. Especially when it comes to his connection to the next character we're going to talk about.
Yeah, well, let's start back up to Neffy. So, sure. Neffy is, which is short for, I forget, but she has like a full name, if I recall correctly. And so she was the slave, test subject, whatever, of a different sorcerer who died or was killed or something, and his assets are being auctioned off.
Nephilia.
So, Nephilia, that sounds about right. So, suitably beautiful for a beautiful lady on every level. And so Zagon attends the auction and just kind of falls in love at first sight. I don't think he quite realizes that, but he's like, I have to buy her, and he just does.
Literally throws his entire fortune at it.
Yeah, and then so he's got this
Magus Bride style.
Yeah, I mean, a little less put together than that. That was totally baller.
Which is saying something.
Yeah, that was totally baller in moment in Magus Bride. This is just adorbs. And so he winds up with this young lady. He has a castle that's not really fit to live in. There isn't even a proper bedroom, because he usually just sleeps sitting up on his throne. And he realizes he doesn't know the first thing about talking to pretty much anybody, let alone a beautiful lady. And so he kind of very socially awkwardly falls back on being standoffish and short and stuff, but inwardly he's screaming, "What am I saying? I'm such a jerk."
That's some of the best dialogue moments. He's like, "No, I don't need your help. Why did I you say that?
Yeah, so it's straight out of the high school anime loner stereotype, only this guy is a grown man,
It's
at
it's
least physically.
almost like Dangerous in My Heart with fantasy tropes.
Yeah, pretty much. Although Neffy's a lot more emotionally damaged than
Well, yes.
what's her face, but yeah. And Neffy is just incredibly nice person, and basically, but she doesn't really know how to relate to him either, and so they kind of stumble their way forward, living together. Starting with Neffy's like, okay, you can't just eat biscuit like hardtack and salt pork. You've got to have some actual food. So she starts cooking, um, and it goes from there. And it's all you go watch it. It's incredibly adorable. But the point is, his castle starts to turn into a home slowly but surely.
One of the big things that eventually happens is the two of them go shopping into the local
Yeah.
town.
Well, before that, it actually opens even before the auction. I think it opens with some guys trying to jump a young red-haired woman outside the castle, and Zagon shows up. He's like, "What the hell is going on? Get off my lawn!" And the guys try to attack him. He murders the crap out of them, and then tells the young lady, "Get lost."
Yep.
And she's kind of whiplash. So this young lady's name is Shastille, played by Monica Flatley, also known as Rouge Red Star in Metallic Rouge, and Mora in The Apothecary Diaries. So she turns out is not just some random girl, but that we'll get to that.
Indeed.
To back up a little bit, so Zagon and Neffy go shopping. They meet this episode's sponsor, Manuela, who is a very bubbly lady with bird wings, who is a local tailor. So this particular character is played by the veteran Brittany Lauda, best known perhaps for being Riko in Made in Abyss and Mai of Nishijo. So definitely somebody we know and love. So she in that not only becomes a friend, particularly to Neffy, but also in Neffy finds her new favorite dress-up doll. 'Cause she's one of these people who's very aggressively friendly, shall we say?
Yeah, no, I'd say that's fair.
Um, all right, so they start to again develop their lives. Now it turns out that Shastille, young lady who got kind of incidentally saved at the very beginning of the show, is a holy knight, and a rather important one at that. And since
This is
Zagon
actually another
is
form of magic because we do know the Holy Knights do magic stuff.
right, so it's I guess not with us not knowing about any other form of magic, this would sort of be like the divide between arcane and clerical magic in D&D or something. Anyway, it's not really explained how it works, which is fine because the show is kind of light on details, which is good. Some people like details, some people don't. It's good to have it either one way or the other. And so anyway, so Shastille is a rather important one of 12 kind of elite holy knights, as I understand it, as being chosen by these 12 holy swords. And so because sorcerer equals bad, so she is sent with her 3 very loyal but kind of stupid male subordinates to take out Zagon because he's a sorcerer. He is nearby. Clearly, he's going to do something horrible if we don't get rid of him.
Yeah, this is being directed by her local priest, who I don't remember the name of, and I cannot find in my character list here that I'm using.
I can't be bothered to look for his name because
he's-
spoiler alert, he's an asshole.
Well, yeah, he is absolutely an asshole.
Yeah. So anyway, Zagon basically just kind of kicks their asses without even betting an
Get
effort.
off
Just
his
like
lawn, more or less.
yeah, it's almost literally, you damn kids, get off my lawn, go home. And they're suitably embarrassed, and in due course this attracts the attention of an OG holy knight named Sir Raphael, whose last name I am not even going to try to pronounce. who's played in high style, I might add, by Brian Mathis,
And this is
also
our
known as
this is our absolute legend.
yeah.
Maka in Fairy Tale. I know you're not gonna pronounce that, but I know who the character is.
I know the place.
It's a character name in Fairy Tale.
Okay. Also, Elias Ainsworth in Ancient Magus Bride.
And so I have to mention that he's also Monkey D. Garp in One Piece. That's Luffy's grandpa.
All right. And so he is an OG demon fighter, because yes, demons and demon summoning is also a thing in this world. And he is taking quite the interest in Zagon as well, although it's very unclear what he's thinking, what he's planning. But clearly, he is somebody who Zagon might not be able to stand up to, at least until Zagon gets appointed as one of the, is it 12 or 13?
He is 13.
Right. So he becomes one of the top sorcerers in the world. He's appointed by the other 12. And this comes with an absolutely insanely overpowered access to a new source of magic.
And they call themselves the Archdemon. Title drop.
Yeah. So he has an epically dumb moment after this, thinking, okay, I'm got this new job, people are going to be coming after me, this is going to put Neffy in danger, I have to get her out of the line of fire. He tells her to get lost, and she has an complete emotional breakdown, and is saved by Manuela. Eventually people read
Chastille tries to
Zog on the right
too, but Manuela saves her from Chastille, who Manuela thinks is trying to persecute her, but it turns out not, which actually is an important moment because that gets Chastille and Neffy to be friends.
Right. Because it turns out Chastille is very much the sincere paladin type, and she just wants to do what's right, which is putting her on a collision course, although she doesn't realize it yet, with certain people within the church.
This time,
yes,
we have kidnapped girls. And actually, we need to rewind because we missed the character introduction.
We did. I was going to get to her next. So at some point, one of the anticipated challengers to Zagon's new position shows up. It's a very large and intimidating snake-looking dude who gives it the old college try and is soundly defeated. And in so doing, turns out this big intimidating thing is just a costume for a little girl with draconic horns and a tail.
Her name is Valifor. 4 for short.
Yep. Played in, again, very well played. I mean, the whole voice cast of this show, as most shows, is fantastic. Jalitza Delgado.
Which doesn't
believe is how you pronounce
great job. Very much relative newcomer. A lot of her roles are literally like background character here.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's how you start. So the two most, aside from this, yep, you go ahead. Okay.
We do have 2 recent credits that are of note, which is Carla Wong from Dead Mount Deathplay, and Remy Ayasaki in Hormia, The Missing Pieces.
All right. And so she is as it turns out, the daughter of the sadly lately deceased legendary dragon Orobas. And she is she's looking for power so she can we're operating on draconic timelines here. Well, anyway, she is looking for power in order to avenge her father. And so had attacked Zagon to that end, to basically take his power. And to make a very long and adorable story short, she winds up essentially being adopted by Zagon and Neffy.
Indeed, which is incredibly adorable. She spends, well, we'll get there because that hasn't actually quite happened yet, but she's very adorable. Things are very interesting. Well, that friendship is going on after Zagon gets his Archdemon rank. people are being kidnapped, and by someone claiming to be Zagon.
Indeed, and he's completely oblivious to this until the church shows up to
Well,
exact justice
that's
upon
not
him.
quite.
So there's these three guys who technically work for Shasteel.
Didn't Chasteel get captured?
Uh, I
Chasteel
don't
or
remember the exact
Nefi
sequence of events, but
Yeah.
basically it's a comedy of errors, as you might expect. Is the bottom line here? We don't want to spoil it for everybody.
Yeah,
'Cause-
basically comedy of errors going on. Zagon gets confronted about someone capturing ladies, including Nefi. And yeah, Zagon's like, all right, let's go kick somebody's ass, and it's of course Barbatos, who for basically now you'd expect maybe Barbatos get some comeuppance. He gets smacked once it's all done. He gets smacked upside the head, basically, and be like, "You owe me booze."
Yeah, is basically put on the sorcerer version of work release is what it boils down to.
Well, what gets interesting is he ends up having to follow Chasteel around in her shadow to protect her. And this
Mm-hmm.
turns out to be a very good thing for two reasons. One is jerk ass McButtfuck the local
The priest
dude poisons her.
Mm-hmm.
And Barbatos is a master of teleportation magic, as mentioned from his own little moment. He actually gets her to Zogon to cure her. But it also pretty obvious he kind of fell for her. When she gets cured up, we also have hints of Raphael, who at first we think is just a big bad guy. He plays all of these airs of being this extremist, but
Yeah.
he's actually trying to, in the name of Oribos, create unity between the church and the sorcerers, because demons are coming.
Yeah. So he's been, like I said, an old school paladin, big guy. So he's been doing a whole bunch of things, but among them, essentially hitting people up for reactions to test them.
And that is how we end this season, is him doing that with Zagon.
Yeah,
There
and
is definitely
so
a fight.
we're not going to go into the full ins and outs of what happens to the end of the season, but I will leave you with one final point of intrigue, which is that for the little dragon girl, when she first sees or meets Raphael, she is very, very convinced that he is the one who killed her father.
He was there drinking his
Yeah,
blood while he was dead.
yeah, which you have to admit is pretty fucking
That is
sus.
sus as hell. I don't blame her suspicions at all. It all
Right.
plays out very interestingly. Nap wraps up the personal drama in a bow. But the end, demon, and we don't mean archdemons. Archdemons is just a metal name for a bunch of wizards, basically. It's the
Yeah.
Wizards Club of metal people.
There are literal actual demons who even the sorcerers are like, there's not much, if anything, we can do to these things if they get into our
Although one did obey Zagar when he told him to go away, but only the one.
Yeah, he kind of stepped into the end of a summoning ritual that somebody had started, and then he found all of a sudden there's this demon there saying, command me, and he's like, go home. And then,
Like, okay.
once it leaves, he kind of has a freak out. He's like, "Oh my god, that was scary."
It seems like that's going to be a problem in the future, and I hope we get another season. This is all based on a bunch of light novels, so hopefully we get more, because it's very interested to see how things go from here. It's really interesting how well the characters interact with each other, interweave, all that good stuff. But
Right,
also,
because
we have a lot of good character moments.
yeah, because I mean, it's been a while since this finished up, so my recollection is a little fuzzy at this point. I didn't rewatch the whole season or anything. So we're not doing anything like justice to everything that's going on. This is very much worth your time if you haven't seen it.
Absolutely cannot recommend it enough. Um, it's slice of life with drama mixed in. Yeah, even if you're me and you're not a big slice of life person, I think this is like the opposite of Mushoku Tensei, which is action with slice of life mixed in. This is slice of life with action mixed in. Like literally the opposite of Mushoku Tensei in that sense.
I guess.
But it's a very good blend. I highly recommend.
All right.
I don't think we can say much else. I think we kind of got to the end of our rope here.
Yeah, if we wanted to go any deeper, I'd have to go into Wikipedia and start kind of regurgitating the episode summations, which go watch it.
Yeah, no, at that point, seriously, go watch it. I believe
All
that's
right.
the topic.
All right. So, for our sponsor read. So we've already mentioned Miss Manuela, but here is the ad read that she gave to me. So we'd like to thank Manuela's Fine Fashion for sponsoring this episode of the Simuldub Saints. So it said that clothes make the being, and Manuela wants everyone to know that she is here to help you become exactly who you want to be. No matter your age, sex, species, or whatever else, bespoke clothing of perfect fit and style is just an ask away. Conveniently located on the main street of town near the square, Manuela's Fine Fashion always offers service with a smile and a hug.
Ooh, and a hug.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you to Manuela's Fine Fashion for sponsoring the podcast. Ark. Besides Hospital Grouch's trash can, where can people find you?
Well, I'm currently operating out of a temporary office in the city of Novigrad, but if you really wanted to contact me, interplanar communications being as difficult as they are, you're probably best off talking to LK, that he can get a hold of me.
Fair enough. As for myself, you can reach me on Twitter at LaserKidPrime. You can allegedly reach me on Blue Sky at LaserKid, assuming I remember that I have a Blue Sky, which is hit or miss. You can hit Simuldub Saints up at Twitter at Simuldub Saints. And you can hear me frequently on the Toonami Faithful podcast on Twitter at Toonami News or Toonami Faithful Podcast. Well, that about does it for this Simuldub Saints podcast. So until next time, see you later.